Hello there, hello. Sorry about that. Oh, much better. All right, so we're having a little technical difficulty here. My iPad, which is what I use when I flip the camera to watch so I can see what you guys see to make sure you can see everything. It has decided that it doesn't want to play. It just keeps spinning. And then it comes up and I'm going to try one more time. Hold on, friends. I can't, right now I'm not being able to think and do it at the same time. So give me 1 second. This is where I get, and then that comes up, and then, maybe we'll be okay. So weird. I've done this like 6 or 7 times. And so bizarre. All right, we're almost there. Technical difficulties that you really don't know about it until like you start things. All right, I think I'm here, friends. Bear with me one more moment. I think it's right there. Live. Okay, we're here. Golly, that was so bizarre. Anyhow, hello, friends. Hello. Hello, hello. Let's see. Hello, Kelly's Creative Dreams and Ms. L. Thanks, honey. Kelly is camped out at a hotel watching while she redates her main planner for the first quarter. Well, that sounds fun. Hello, Ms. L. I think I already said that. Had a flu shot today. That's what I'm going to blame it on. Hi, Mimi. Nice to see you. 60 degrees in California. Hello, hello, Wanda. Very cold Tennessee. Hi, Amy. Amy is joining us again this evening. She will be popping in some links as we're working, so make it super easy to find things if you are looking for things. Hello, Pamela from freezing Virginia. Well, stay warm, stay warm. Hi, Wanda. Hello, Carol in Central Canada. Carol and Colleen too. Carol and Colleen, both from Canada. How about that? The C's, Carol, Colleen, Canada. Ladies, is there any like end in sight to your to the postal service there being on strike? I mean, like what a horrible time. I mean, never a good time for that, but this time of year, oh my goodness. So just curious if you guys are still dealing with that, because whoa, what a mess, right? What a mess. Hope that gets resolved very, very soon. Hello, Heather, Graham, and Deborah. Janine, hello, hello, hello. Our Saps, she's not been able to join for ages. I'm so happy to join the crew, she said. Happy to have you here. Yes, Mimi. Mimi just celebrated her birthday on Saturday, which is the same day as Nick, my husband's birthday. So happy belated birthday, Mimi. Hi, Jolene. Oh, Jolene, that makes me happy. Jolene said, so happy to see your smiling face, Lael. Well, Jolene, so happy to see you as well. Hi, Jackie. Nice to see you. Carol K. No end in sight. Oh, my gosh. I'm so sorry. Our Saps, also from Canada. Look, Canadians in the house. Hello, Jen Heckman. Carol Lee from Pasadena. Hi, Nancy. Nancy, I emailed you back about the printer. Okay, friends. So, hello. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday evening. We are here tonight to do a little bit of creative listing. If you are new, welcome to you. My name is Lael Kankar. Normally, when I'm not traveling and it's on a Saturday, we're here on my YouTube channel in the mornings, and we are doing what I like to call creative listing. I will be gone both this Saturday and next week. So we are listing tonight, Tuesday, and we will not be listing again until the calendar on the wall. Calendar on the wall is still November. It's okay. It's only the 3rd, so it's not that bad. So let's just talk about schedule very quickly. So today is Tuesday the 3rd. We are listing tonight. Then we'll be listing on Saturday the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th. So after tonight, the rest of our listing sessions for the month of December will be on Saturday, kind of your regularly scheduled program, what we're used to. So when I'm not traveling, and sometimes things change, we're here on my YouTube channel doing what I like to call creative listing. Basically, a couple days in advance, I publish a couple of listing topics on the blog. They're on, well, they go out in an email and Facebook, and you can find them. Everything points back to the blog. But when we get together to do our creative listing, we are taking those listing topics and we are playing. That's what I do. Some of you join me. Some of you are listing right along with me. Some of you are working on different lists, maybe from the past. Some of you are working on other projects. Some of you, I'm just a noise in the background, right? To keep you company, which, whatever it is, I'm happy to be here. I have a business called Layout by Mail, a website, layoutbymail.com. So as you see me working with different products, you will find those products for the most part on my website. In the description box of the video down below, there is a link. There's a lot of links, but there's a link kind of loud and clear, and it says that these are the products I'm using. That will take you to a page on the website that makes it super easy for you to find what I'm using. Now, when it works for Amy's schedule, Amy does lots and lots of work for me, with me. And when it works for her schedule, she is here, and she's here this evening to make it a little bit easier. So as I use things, she'll just be popping links into the chat, which brings me to the chat. So if you are watching live, there's a live chat that takes place. That's how I'm interacting with folks. So if you want to pop in and say hello, that would be great. If you are normally here, but you're normally a lurker, you're behind the scenes, which is totally okay. If you want to pop in and say hello, that's always fun. If you are not here live and you're watching the replay, welcome to you as well. And I just remembered, I've gotten so bad about this lately. We listed together on just checking my book. We listed together on Saturday. We had two prizes. One was a live prize. The second prize was it was a stamp set. I'm gonna have to go back and look because I didn't draw for that. So when we're done tonight, I will go back to the comments from Saturday's session and I will draw that. We'll do prizes again tonight. We'll do two prizes tonight. We'll do one live. So when we're ready to get there, I'll explain how that works, and then we will also do what I call an after party prize. So that's kind of our plan for this evening. We have a couple of different lists. I will rotate the little camera and turn off the lights, turn on the lights, and then we will get going. How does that sound? Sound good? Sound good? Sound good? Just check the chat really quickly. Heather's in Gilbert. Amy, too. Amy's in Gilbert, too. Oh, Colleen said 18 days with the strike. Oh, my goodness. Oh, and then you think about, people that get medications in the mail. You think about people that get, people still get paychecks in the mail. Not so much here in the U.S., but I'm sure it happens, different kinds of things. But that's just scary. That is scary. I hope that, Colleen, I hope they get that, Colleen. All of Canada, I hope they get that resolved very soon. Very soon. Okay, I'm going to rotate and do other things. Okay, hello, Maureen. Hello. Oh, I better turn these lights on before I turn on the overhead lights or turn off the overhead light, or we will not be able to see a thing because it's very dark, right? It is very dark. It's dark outside this time of year, this time of day, this time of year. Alrighty, how are we doing this evening? How are you guys? We're in December, which is crazy. Do you believe that? We are in December. Sorry, December 3rd. We are almost the end of the year. Like, seriously, where does the time go? That's what I want to know. Where does the time go? Oh, here we are. Let's rotate. There we go. Maureen, good evening from Canada. Are you in Canada? You're not normally in Canada, are you? Hello, Jolene. Hi, Tabitha. Hello, Beth and Carolee. Oh, Carolee said, thanks for the Black Friday sales. Yes. Oh, bless your heart, Colleen, in the best way. Plugging in. Thank you. Whoopsie. Kind of shaking the camera a little bit there. Yes, Carolee, Black Friday sales. We had some good sales going here over the last Wednesday, whatever day that was, the 27th. So the sale started on the 27th and ended yesterday for Cyber Monday. A little secret, doesn't really look like it's still out there, but it's still out there. So I'll have a chance to kind of get all of that taken down and out of the way tomorrow, which would be the 4th. So if you missed that, go to the website and search for Black Friday, and then you'll see there's still some things to be had. That is for sure. Alrighty, so let's talk about before we jump in with our list for today, let's take a look at the 3 lists that we did when we were together on Saturday. God, that seems like forever ago. We were together on Saturday. We did 3 lists. Well, we did 2 lists, and then we did something a little bit different. So let me just grab that really quick, because I put everything away. We kind of had a bunch of family over on, hold on, here it is. We had a bunch of family over on Saturday night while our older son Jack and his fiance Kat were in town. And so I tried to clean up this giant mess that this room normally is. So I put this away, but we'll come back. Okay, so we did 2 lists plus something else when we were together on Saturday. The first list, this guy, things I'm looking forward to this Christmas. So this is a list, things I'm looking forward to that we typically do about 6 times a year. Things I'm looking forward to this year, things I'm looking forward to this spring, summer, winter, fall, things I'm looking forward to this Christmas, and things I'm looking forward to next year. So with that, we use the All the Things stamp set, and that is what you see there, things I'm looking forward to. We used the Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Holly Jolly collection on this list. Did a little bit of layering, talked about some really basic rules or rules of thumb when layering to kind of make your layered layer look nice and cohesive and balanced. But yeah, that was our first list, things I'm looking forward to. What we talked about here, this is a tough time of year for some people, right? It is not all holly and jolly for everyone. So when we are getting together, if you are listing with me or if you're listing with the same topics later, there are some that you just might skip right past or you might change. So for example, this is things I'm looking forward to this Christmas. You may not be looking forward to anything this Christmas. Doesn't mean that you can't participate. You can jump ahead, things I'm looking forward to this week, next week, things I'm looking forward to tomorrow, right? Things I'm looking forward to next year. So you can pretty much always take a topic that we work on and switch it up if it's not something that necessarily works for you. All right, so that was things I'm looking forward to this Christmas. Our second list was this guy, about last month. So about last month is a list.
Yes, have fun listening. I'm going to have fun going to the HOI board meeting.
Okay, have fun. Yes, I'm very glad to be here as opposed to where Nick is going. Nick is on our HOA board, our homeowners association board. Although, I mean, it's very lovely. It's a wonderful group of people. There's no drama, but I think he'd rather be, I don't know, watching paint dry. Something more exciting than that. So I, on the other hand, am doing something way more exciting than that, which is hanging out with you guys tonight. That's my excuse for not going, right? I always try to make other plans when he has that going. Anyhow, so our second list was about last month. About last month is a list that we've been doing for about the last 4 years. Basically, at the start of a new month, and this one we did at the very end of November. At the start of a new month, I add photos and do a little bit of decorating, and then make a list of just the things that happened in my life, in my family's life, what have you, during the month. If you were with me, I was not listening. You guys were all like screaming in the chat, all uppercase. Lael, it's November, not October. If you were with me, you may remember that I had stamped the month October. And I said, no worries, I will fix it later. And that's exactly what I did. I fixed it later. Mimi said, Lael, how did you fix the month? So this is what I did. I took an old insert that I hadn't used all of the pages. So, an insert like this. So I took one of the pages, let's pretend it was this one, took one of those pages and ripped it out and stamped really the 3 stamps, right? Because that was a 3-part stamp. So first stamped the solid background on it, then came in and stamped the border on top, and then stamped the November and the 24. Then I cut that out. And it works because I put it on the same paper that it was on. Even if I didn't have the same paper, really I think the difference there was it was the same thickness of paper. If I had done it on white cardstock, it would have worked as well. But if you were sitting here, you would have a hard time noticing. You can see a little tiny bit on this side. You can see a little bit of the paper. But over here, you really can't see it at all because I cut right up next to the line. Then I ran it through a sticker machine. I ran it through a Xyron. Now, I happen to have a sticker machine, a Xyron, so I could do that very easily. But if I didn't have anything like that, I would have used a glue stick. I would have used a glue stick to make sure I got my adhesive all around that entire piece. So a glue stick would make it a lot easier for me to do that as opposed to, say, my tape runner, right? Because it would be hard to get it over the entire surface. But that is how I fixed that. Jen said you even lined up the lines on that fix, chef's kiss, right? Yeah, I will tell you, it took me 3 times. It took me 3 times to do. The reason it took me 3 times to do, the first time I put it in the sticker maker upside down. So the sticky was here. And I did it again, and I tried to see if I could reuse the sticker paper, and I stuck the second one down. Yeah, that didn't work at all. So 3 times. But really, it should have only taken me 1 time, but super easy. The whole moral of that story is when you make a mistake, don't be sad, don't cry, don't start over, right? You can always fix it. In this case, all I did was restamp on a separate piece of paper and put it right over my mistake. And my mistake was that I stamped October instead of November. So easy, easy, easy. Pamela, yes, 3rd time's a charm, right? And I was like hitting myself in the head. The 3rd time, I'm like, oh my gosh, come on, Lael, come on, get this right. And it worked out, right? I'd love to tell you that it only took me 10 seconds to do, but it didn't. But it's fixed and it's all good. Would have taken me a lot longer to start over with all of this, right? All right. So the 3rd thing that we did, not a list, but the 3rd thing that we did was talk about my out the window stamping. So we talked about how, gosh, 4 years ago, so even before the beginning of the pandemic, in 2020, I started doing a traveler's notebook of the photos that I take when I am in the airplane. I like to sit at the window and I like to take pictures. And then I decided finally after traveling my whole life that I should do something with those photos. So basically, that's what I do with now my out the window stamp set. So initially when I was doing it, I didn't have my own stamp set. I didn't have any stamps when I started of my own Lael by Mail brand. And so I was piecing together just different alphabet stamps and different date stamps from Carrie Bradford. And at some point, one of you said, Lael, you do this fun out the window. Why don't you have a stamp set of your own to do this? And I said, oh, hey, you know what? That's a really good idea. So I came out with that. Gosh, I don't even remember now. It's now been a couple of years. Well, sometime in 2022, I think. But that basically is what I continue to do. So 3-digit airport code of where I am leaving, 3-digit airport code of where I am going, and then a nice little grid here of the day, the month, the year, and then a little blurb. So I put this one together while we were together on Saturday. So I got that one ready. And then I had another photo. So what I talked about doing with all of this is I am going to a little retreat to play, not to teach, at the end of January. And so I will work on getting up to date with this project. I travel a lot. I take photos out the airplane windows a lot. And I ended in February 2022. So I have some work to do. But that is why I did not adhere this guy. So I'll do some kind of batch processing before I go, get all my photos printed, and then when I get to that little retreat, I'll start playing. So that was the last thing that we did when we were together on Saturday. I thought that might be a fun thing to talk about, kind of timely on Saturday because a lot of people were traveling for the Thanksgiving weekend. Alrighty, so that takes us into this evening. Our first list that we are going to work on, I think the first list we're going to work on, it'll be a quick and dirty, I shouldn't say quick and dirty. I will say it should be a fairly quick list to do, not dirty. And that is in the news for the month of November. So in the news is a list that we typically do once a month where I am adding some photos and basically just making a list of some of the news events, all right? So if you are in the US, there were some pretty big news events that took place in the month of November. We had our presidential election. And so I have, this will be a one-page list. I specifically left this page on the right blank. So we have October here, and I'm going to put November here. Sometimes my in the news list are 2 pages. Sometimes they are 1 page. Let's look in here and see if I have. I don't know if I have another one. I don't think I'm going to have another one in here. Oh, there's one. So we had skipped a month because September is super busy travel month for me. So we didn't end up doing this for a while. So I ended up doing 2 months in one. But usually when I do it in the news, usually it ends up being a 2-pager. But this guy, left side is August and right side is September. And then you just have my little in the news things tucking in that little typewriter there. So in the news, here's the deal. This is the agreement that we make when we come to list with Lael and we are working on an in the news list. In the news can be extremely divisive because a lot of times news has to do with politics. And so I just ask that in the chat, it's just the facts. So we're not talking politics in the chat. When I do my list, I am also not talking politics. I am listing just the facts. And they're the facts that I have decided that I would like to be on my list. So obviously a lot of things in the news happen in the month of November and I won't be listing about them all. But as I put something on my list, it will be very factual. No opinions. It's really important to me, and I think it's important to you guys that you can go get politics in a lot of places. I'm pretty sure nobody came here to get politics, right? Or to have anything divisive going on. So that's our deal. All right, so I pulled out a couple of different papers. These were all from different, I think these 2 are from 149 and Market Collection, and this is from another one. I was just looking for something really pretty super neutral. Okay, so something really pretty super neutral. So I pulled these 3 out. We'll see what we have to go with. The photos that I have, this is actually a 5x7 photo. I have printed 1, 2, 3, 4 small photos on that 5x7. The printer that I use for pretty much everything in my traveler's notebook, I'm going to say probably 95% of my printing is the Epson PictureMate PM400 printer. That is a printer that you will see linked in the description box of the video down below. I was looking today, someone was asking about that printer, and I pulled it up on Amazon. If you have that on your Christmas list, and this is US, I can't say for Canada because I don't see Canadian Amazon, just US Amazon. It was marked at $199, which is a really, really, really good price. It usually fluctuates between like $249 and $269. Printer is amazing for the price. It's just a little guy about this big. I do say it's portable because I take it with me when I travel. In fact, I'll be taking it with me when I go out of town on Friday. It's probably, I don't know, maybe 5 inches tall and maybe about 9 inches wide. It prints 3.5 by 5s, 4 by 6, and 5 by 7s. But the beauty in that printer is the Epson Creative Print app. That's a free app that you can get both on Android or in the Apple App Store. But the Creative Print app lets you do some really cool things like this, okay? Hi, Deborah. Nice to see you, Deborah. Deborah, you're my kind of gal because that's exactly what I think. Deborah said, sometimes I think I should buy a second one when it's on sale. I'll tell you, really quick squirrel moment here. For my business, the little thermal printer that prints out all the shipping labels, if that breaks, we're kind of a little bit dead in the water without that. I mean, you could do a workaround and print on a regular printer, but it would be a huge pain in the butt. That has had 30, maybe like 34,000 labels printed on it over the last 4 years, I think. Well, I bought a backup about 2 years ago just in case, because Deborah, for that thing, I'm like, oh my gosh, if at any point it dies, I need to have a backup. So I'm like you. I have backups on deodorant. I have backups on all the things. I have a whole closet in my house that's got like all those things because I just don't like to run out of something or have it not work. Anyhow, back to the topic at hand. That Epson Creative Print app is pretty fabulous, and it's free, and you can use it with any Epson printer. You do need to use it with an Epson printer, but it has a bunch of pre-configured templates, and those templates what make it really easy for you to get small photos like that. So this particular template actually looked like this. Okay, so it had space for 8 photos, 2, 4, 6, 8. When I printed, I just didn't put any photos in those spots because I didn't need them for our list. But all kinds of different pre-configured templates like that. You pick the template and then you decide which photos you want to go in each of the little spots in your template. There is a video, kind of a free class that I put together about a year ago that shows you how to use that app, but more importantly, it shows you how to do some really cool things with that app that make that app much easier to use. I don't know, just there's some really cool things that I think a lot of people don't know about that app. So all of that to say, that is what I use. Jackie, do you find the Epson Creative Printer cheaper, including supplies, than printing, say, at Walgreens? Jackie, you know what? I am not a good person to answer that question. I will throw that out to others in the chat. Here's the thing with me. I am a print on demand. Like I printed this probably about 10 minutes before we started. Because so much of what I do is print on demand, like print right before I need it or right when I need it. I typically don't have the luxury to be able to print at Walgreens. So I haven't printed outside of my home for many, many, many years. Jolene said it's more expensive, but I like the convenience. Julie said she travels as well with it. Carol uses a different printer, but prints at home. I would say in general, especially, and I don't know if Walgreens still does this. I know they used to have like double 4x6 print Tuesday or something like that. You definitely are going to trade cost for convenience. So just kind of have to weigh that. I will tell you, the quality in the printer is amazing. It is amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so that's what I did. Because I knew I only wanted 4 photos, and I wasn't sure if I was going to use them as kind of a photo booth strip, right? So photo booth strip, what I mean by that is, when you go to a wedding or you go to an amusement park or something like that, and you go in a little booth and it takes your photos and then you get a little strip. Well, there you go. There's your photo booth strip, 5x7, and I just put photos in 4 of the spots instead of 8. So it's super easy to make your photo booth strips. But I wasn't sure if I wanted to use that as a single, use it as kind of a single photo there, or if I wanted to cut it into smaller photos. So let me get some white cardstock to start, because I need white cardstock for my list. Hi, Louisa, nice to see you. Jolene said, I think the quality of the printer is better than Walgreens. Julie, it's great to customize the photo size. That's the other thing. And I don't know, it's been so long since I've printed at Walgreens. I don't know if you can kind of play around with the photo sizes and do things like this through their through website or through their website or on their app. But there are some flexibilities. Okay, so these three that I pulled out, let's, I don't know. I think. Something's going to come out very quickly as I start this, but I don't know what it is yet. So I am going to trim all three of these papers. So those are ready, and then I can decide what I want to do. I am trimming these papers. These are 6x8 papers. You see me use 6x8 papers almost exclusively when I am working in my traveler's notebook. Number one, because you see how much I'm cutting off, not a lot. So I am not wasting a lot. But really the reason is the pattern is scaled down to size. So for example, if I had this print, let's do this one. If I had this print on a 12x12, those flowers would be much larger because it would be scaled up to fit a 12x12. On a 6x8, your pattern is scaled down. Now, doesn't really matter for these two because they're solids, but this guy, that stripe is scaled down to fit. So when I'm trimming down to 6x8, I trim to 4 3/4 wide. And I trim to 4 3/4 wide because the inserts I use, my Lail by Mail inserts, are called standard wide. Standard wide is 5 inches by 8 1/4. So 5 inches wide by 8 1/4 tall. If I use a 6x8 paper and cut it down to 4 3/4, that gives me a nice white border all the way around. Okay. So let's see. What I'm thinking. So as I look at this photo, let's just put it on the red just to start. As I look at that photo, I think what I would like to do, I'm going to trim all the white off and cut these each into individual photos. So these are just some of the things that happened in the month of, obviously, these are some of the things that happened in the news during the month of November. And so these are the ones that I decided to pull out. Now, sometimes I am including in my list more things that are on, more things than I have in photos, right? And other times I am not. So this is going to be one of the times that I think I am just going to basically list 4 things that happened in the news during the month of November. All right, now this guy, let's see what these ended up being. These ended up being about 1.5 plus 2. Don't laugh at me. 1.5 plus 2. We don't do math here, all right? Ooh, that's going to cut right through their heads. We don't want to do that. So that must not have been 1.5 plus 2, Lil. Oh, duh. Don't mind me. Let's trim from the other end. All right, there we go. So here are my 4 photos. All right. Now let's see what we have going. So what I had thought ahead of time that I might do, I thought ahead of time I might cut out all my little photos, and then I might also cut out what I was going to say next to each of those photos. So we'll have to see how this is going to work. Let's say this was the piece we were doing. So I would have something like that, and then I would have something like that, although I wouldn't put that there because the colors were too similar. Maybe we'll put Rafael Nadal there, and then we could do that, and then we could do that. Ooh, the upside down Spirit Airlines. Well, yeah, they really are kind of upside down now. They filed for bankruptcy. So I thought I could do that and then maybe do my little journaling there or my little list there, okay? As I was thinking about all this, I had a thought. And my thought was, hey, you know what? I wonder if there is a little die that, so a little bit smaller. No, I'm not gonna do that. I am just going to cut out little, I don't know. we're going to be a little undecisive today. Let's start with our white to see what I want to do here. All right, so white cardstock. I need white cardstock for my list. Let's do one that is 4 3/4. No, 8 by 8 inches tall by 4 3/4 wide. Now, if I'm going to do this, this really doesn't even make sense, because why would I put that there instead of that? Let's move that. We could have it be super boring and plain and just do this, right? Maybe that's what we do. And we just do it right on the insert like that. Not everything has to involve lots of little dealies and doohickeys and paper and all of that, right? Maybe that's just what we're going to do. We're going to keep it super simple. We are going to keep it simple. You know what they say, KISS. You know what that stands for? Keep it simple, dummy, but with an S. Louisa just said, did everyone have a nice Thanksgiving? Yes, my friends in the U.S. Did you have a nice Thanksgiving? We just had Thanksgiving, right? Thursday. This past Thursday was Thanksgiving. Did you go somewhere? Did you travel? Or one of like the 300 billion? No, not that many. A lot of people traveled. A lot of people traveled for Thanksgiving, for the holidays. I saw something yesterday on the news. I took a screenshot of it so I could remember to add it to my in the news for the month of December. Highest record ever of people traveling. So that was kind of a, a news breaking event. Let's see. I've pulled out the In the News 2 stamp set. Stephanie said, I don't know if anyone is in the market for a new photo printer. Stephanie, you must have joined us late. We just were talking about that a couple of minutes ago. And talking about how that was a great price, right? And you treated yourself to one. Good for you, right? Sometimes we've got to treat ourselves to things. Sometimes either our family is not in tune to things like that, or maybe we just want to buy ourselves something because we deserve it. So I don't know. This is just going to be super plain, and it's just going to be plain. And I'm going to be okay with that. Not everything has to be all crazy and fancy. And we're going to do this there. We'll do this one over here. I'm just going to make it one little, I think it looks like we can do one little line in between the two. And then I know I always say just the facts. This one I am going to comment on. Chuck Woolery died. You know Chuck Woolery? There are lots of photos that I could have pulled for Chuck Woolery. I chose to pull a love connection photo because that's how I know. No, that's not how I know him, but that's how I think of him. I think of Chuck Woolery as the love connection. That show that was back on, I don't know, was it in the 80s or the 70s, or he'd say, we'll be back in 2 and 2. Chuck Woolery and the Love Connection. You know what's funny? That was kind of like, the Love Connection was probably really like the first, I guess the Dating Game. Was that one in like the 60s? Was that what that show was called, The Dating Game? Like real reality TV. That's kind of reality TV too, right? A little bit of reality TV there. Okay, so keep it simple, silly. There we go, Heather. That's much better than the keep it simple, the other S word, silly. Rhymes with Cupid. Rhymes with Cupid. Kathy, thank you, Kathy. Kathy said she just wanted to say how much she's loving my December documented project. I love that. That's so fun. So fun. Oh, Ms. L, you're right. He was the original host of Wheel of Fortune. I didn't remember that either, right? Wow. He'd been around for a long time. Heather, like online dating, right? Oh, Lordy, right? Okay. So we are going to outline these little boxes just because feels like they need a little something, right? So I have 4 things that are going to be on my, gosh, this is probably the most plain list I've ever done. You know what's really funny? It is, it's giving me feels, it's taking me back to my least favorite list that I ever did. which was Super Bowl snacks. We looked at that one the other day. We laughed about that one because it was super plain. I mean, here's the thing. I always say there's only two things you need to do what we do here. Only two things that you need. One is something to write with, and one is something to write on. Okay, that is all that you need to play. But that's really not me. I usually am pulling in lots and lots of different things. So it's all right. It's all good. I am, as we're just working and talking and chatting and playing, this goes back to way back when we started listing and we were doing the About Last Month lists. Originally, my About Last Month lists had in the news in it too, and it was way too much, right? It was just way too much to try to, way too much to try to shove into kind of one list. So it was not long before I started splitting them up. And so I don't even know where I was headed with that. I don't know. Lost my train of thought. That's all right. Let me grab our black ink, which I really should have marked one of these so I know which one is still a good one. All right. I am using this stamp. Newsworthy, interesting enough to the general public to warrant reporting. You'll notice I have placed this left justified instead of center or right justified. The reason for that is if I am stamping here, I don't want to put that in the center. If I put that in the center, I'm going to be in trouble because the left side is higher because we've done work over here. The right side is much lower because there aren't many pages left. So if I had done it in the center, that would have been a problem. And if I had done it towards the right, it really would have been a problem. But if I left justify it, then it will work because all of my excess on the stamping block is over here off to the right. Just the things that, you pick up after a while. And you would have realized that if you would load it in the center, because usually that's where I would load something like that, would be right in the center. Generally, you pick things up like that. Doesn't take long before you're like, oh yeah, that's not going to work. Well, you'd figure it out right away. All right, always test it first. Always, always, always test first. Now, do I want to keep it really boring and black? No, what am I thinking? We might as well pull in that same blue that we were working with over here. So that would have been chipped sapphire, maybe? Let's look. Ooh, maybe prize ribbon. I think it's prize ribbon. Yeah, prize ribbon. All right, let me grab prize ribbon. What was I going to say? That was really easy for me to figure out that color because all of my inks were swatched, right? That is one of those things that you can do that will save you so much time in the long run. It takes a little bit to swatch them, right? But saves you so much time in the long run because it's really easy then to find the color that you're looking for. So those I did, oh my gosh, probably about 3 years ago now with the Swatch This stamp set. All about making it easier to use your tools, like your inks, when you're ready. So time invested, right? All right, so I cleaned that off because I decided I wasn't going to use the black. And now I am drying that off. The drying is really important, okay? The drying is super important because I am using pigment-based ink. So pigment-based ink is a hybrid ink. Pigment-based ink is a hybrid ink, part dye ink. I've just totally lost my train of thought, friends. I don't know. Don't mind me. Went to the neurologist today. Maybe that's part of it. And my flu shot. Anyhow. Sorry. Yes, hybrid. Hybrid ink. Pigment-based ink and a dye-based ink. It's a combo between a pigment-based ink and a dye-based ink. Wow. Pigment-based inks I call them a juicy ink. So a Distress Oxide is going to be a pigment-based ink or hybrid. but a little bit more of a juicy ink. I bring that up because it's really important. It takes a little second to dry, but it's important that you completely dry it from one color to the next. So I started with black, decided I didn't like that, cleaned the black off and needed to dry it because pigment-based inks are water reactive. If I had not completely dried that off, I think I'm going to add a little something over here. If I had not completely dried that off, the possibility that that blue ink that I put down would react a little bit with the water and then maybe not necessarily do what I would like it to do. All right, there we go. Newsworthy, interesting enough to the general public to warrant reporting. All right, let's just get this guy cleaned off here. Colleen, the size of the swatch cards, those are 3x3. Okay, that is, your stamp is a little bit smaller than 3x3. So my cards are 3x3. Tabitha, the other side say about the pandas, that was in the news for October. The pandas, giant pandas arrived at the National Zoo. So a couple of years ago, China took the pandas away that they had donated or on loan for like 10 years to the US. They took them and they went back to China. And then in October, new pandas arrived at the National Zoo in Washington, D.C. And so they will, you'll be able to see them. They're kind of in, I don't want to say quarantine right now, but public is not seeing them. I think until January. I think they would like the little pandas to get acclimated and, you know, get acclimated to their new home and travel and all that before everyone can see them. Good afternoon, Debbie Haynes. Sydney, it is 12:45 on Wednesday, 86 degrees. Yes, Southern Hemisphere. So you were heading into your spring, right? Or no, summer, late spring, early summer. Debbie said it is very humid there as well. Okay, I've got some blue ink on my hands there, so wanted to clean that off. That's important. Clean off. If you get ink on your hands, clean off so you don't transfer, right? We really don't want to transfer any ink. All right, let's grab a little icon here. How about if we grab this little newspaper? Just that cute little newspaper. I'm going to swap out that stamping block, even though it would work, right? Theoretically, it would work. It's still a stamping block, but I want to go with something smaller. I am a firm believer in doing everything that you can to make life easier when you are stamping. And one of those things, in my opinion, that you can do to make life easier, and when I say easier, is also equates to make your stamping more successful, is to right size your stamping block to the stamp. So I just went way smaller. It is going to be way easier for me to control the placement, upside down, of that little stamp if I have a smaller stamping block to work with. It's a lot easier to handle. So I swapped that out for one of the two cylinder stamping blocks that are mail by mail because it will make it just much easier to handle there, right? Okay. There we go. Last thing that I will do in stamping before I start the writing is to, I know what'll help. Something else that will help to bring in a little bit more color, I think. Clean that guy off. Always, if you can, clean up your stamps right away. It just makes it so much easier. If you clean them off right away, when you go to use them, they'll be clean, right? It's kind of also like your dishes in your dinner dishes. If you put them rinse them off, put them in the dishwasher right away, as opposed to putting them in the sink and getting up the next morning and cleaning them off. So much easier if you do it right away, right? So much easier. Okay. Let's grab this out. We're going to make a little line right here, just a little bit of a visual separator between our title. This is our little title that we've got going here. Like that. And then I am going to make some similar sized little blocks here where I will write about the photo. So earlier when I mentioned that I was looking at the In the Box 2 stamp and die set, I was thinking, oh, I know, I could probably stamp one of the stamps from In the Box 2 and write stamp and then use the die. And then I'm like, no. It would totally work because they are about that side. I'm like, no, we're just going to keep this part simple tonight. I left a little space here. So while I have the blue out, I am going to use the handwritten months stamp set. The handwritten months, I used October over here, so I will use November over here. Now, in all honesty, it feels very odd for me to get out a stamp to stamp November when it's my handwriting and I could just write November, but I'm going to do it. Really, the other reason too is that the blue ink, right? So that's how I can kind of pull in that ink color. All right, we're right sizing again. That one work? So it's a little bit too small. It's okay. I'm hanging over this edge because there's enough support underneath it, but there, too much is hanging off there. So we'll go to this guy. Having an assortment of stamping blocks, some of you tell me you hate to stamp, and then that's when we go through I start going through the questions and saying, okay, friends, if you hate to stamp, are you getting your stamps ready to use before you use them? Are you priming or conditioning them first? Oh, no, you're not. Okay, let's talk about that. Are you cleaning your stamps right after? Oh, no, you're not. Okay, let's talk about that. Are you using the right size stamping block when you're stamping? Oh, you're not. Let's talk about that. Are you testing first? Oh, you're not. Let's talk about that. All of those things that you usually see me do and talk about when I'm stamping, I believe are a super important part of having a successful stamped image. Always test. I always test because you never know if okay, so now, I know what happened there. I was thinking I was later in my traveler's notebook than I was. So what happened here, I ran into this that was on the front side. So that is a layer. Because I ran into that layer underneath, it did not stamp where kind of that layer was raised. If you look at my stamping block, you can still see kind of that bottom part has a lot of the ink. Now, that's okay. I have a way that I can fix that. I'm not going to try to stamp it again. That is not the way to try. That is very difficult to do, to get it in the same spot, unless you are using a stamping platform like a Misty. If you're using a Misty, then the stamp hasn't moved and you re-ink and then go down again with that stamping platform. And then your chances of having that line up and re-ink the part that you missed are really good. But I don't want to try to restamp that because I know it will not work. So I am using prize ribbon. Let's see. I am looking for one of the, oh my goodness. Those all fell out on me. Oh good, prize ribbon isn't in there. I'm looking for the watercolor pencil. That is prize ribbon. Okay. Must be here. Prize ribbon. All right. So what I am going to do is I'm going to grab this watercolor pencil. Stephanie says she loves stamping. She started as a card maker. She's been collecting stamps and stamping since 2000. Oh my gosh, you're like an OG stamper, aren't you? I love it. Lael gives great tips. Thank you, Stephanie. Here's the thing. They're all things that I figured out on my own, in a lot of cases the hard way. All right, so what I've done here, oopsie, I have that prize ribbon. I am just going to come in here. Actually, I want to sharpen that. I'm going to try to draw that in. We'll see. We'll see how this works. So lots of times you have things that just don't necessarily go as planned. In that case, I mean, it's not bad, right? I mean, you can still totally see. It's not bad. You know it says November. It's just a little bit faint at the bottom. So let's get my little pencil out here and see if I can't just color part of that in. That's not going to be perfect, but it will look better, I think. And this has nothing to do with the fact that I wrote the word initially, because I'm not good at, partial words. I'm just basically tracing over where I know the letter is because I have a little bit of that ink that was there. All right, so look at that. Now I don't have to have, it helps that this is the same color pencil. But if I didn't have that, I could, see, look at that. If I didn't have that, I could have looked through all my colored pencils to try to find a color that was pretty close. That's if it bothered me. And some people it doesn't bother. Some people are like, why did you even do that? Because I think it was totally fine. Now that I've got that pencil out, we're going to add a little bit of color. You can still see the black line is there, and that's why I wanted to do the black line first. I am basically just tracing those little boxes with that pencil. And I have blue, like my whole hand is blue, it looks like. Alrighty. You can tell I'm having a hard time just leaving it super plain. The plain Jane is not necessarily my thing. That's all right. All right, so I've got that done. Okay, so now let's do one more thing. I would like to maybe add, okay. Let's take a look. Did I get that put away? I did. Getting that put away is super important. Always put your stamps away right away. Then you don't lose them. I wanted to look at, here we go, this guy. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'm going to take even that little guy too. I might just put one little icon from in the news in each of those little boxes just to kind of make things a little bit more visually interesting. And we'll do that with that blue again. Now, what I should do, well, it's not really going to help me over here, so we'll see what happens. All right, and we'll add our little TV right here. Okay, and then we'll add, because sometimes we get our news from the TV, right? Sometimes we get our news from a computer. Sometimes we get our news maybe from a podcast or a tablet. Let's do the little podcast, the little microphone next. Test that over there. All right, we'll put this little guy here. And we're off and running. Hi, Jackie. Hello, hello. All right. While we are talking, as I'm bringing out these other guys, this is like a little text. Maybe we'll do that little kind of text chat thing. While we're doing this, in case you missed it, in the box dies came in last Wednesday. So in the box 2 and in the circle, Those dies came in, and they have been super fun to work with so far. I was thinking about using one, as I said, on this list, but I didn't end up using it. I'll show you those in a sec. I had Nick grab them for me when I was thinking I might use one. Okay, okie dokies. All cleaned off. I'm just using that stamp chamois to clean those off. But like I said, you should always clean right away. It makes it so much easier. All right, so now for the things on my list. And I know that there's one more thing I need to do up here because it's looking very kind of bottom heavy. So I just made another little line there that I'll come in and add my little, oh heavens, that is the wrong color blue. That's Mermaid Lagoon. That's Mermaid Lagoon. Good thing I'm going darker. Prize ribbon. Couldn't really tell until it went a little bit over the line. All right, so what happened? What happened on my list in the month of November as it related to the news? I have lots more things on my list than I am listing about here. So the first one, probably the biggest thing that happened in the news in the month of November in our country is that Donald Trump was elected as the 47th president of the United States. Next thing on my list, Rafael Nadal announced his retirement from, I'm making this a little bit longer, playing professional tennis. Next one, Spirit Airlines announced, again, I have to make this one a little bit longer to fit, that they were filing, I believe it's Chapter 11, not Chapter 7. Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And last but not least, Chuck Woolery, now really passed away. So, I mean, it was good I made that a little bit shorter, but I'll just say I always knew him from the Love Connection. Passed away. All right, so there is the in the news list for November of 2024. And it's done. Okay, so now let me get these little things put away and we're getting ready to go to our next list. Our next list is a fun one. I mean, news is not really fun, right? I mean, it's just still, it's part of the documenting that I like to do, but it's just not necessarily as fun as, say, the next one. The next one is a Christmas list. We will be continuing to do Christmas lists up until the holiday, and even we'll do one right after the holiday when we were together on the 28th, I believe it is. But Christmas lists are fun. Again, if Christmas is not your thing or Christmas is not a happy time for you, this may be one that could work. This topic is movies that I want to watch this Christmas. Okay, movies I want to watch this Christmas. Even if Christmas is not a happy place for you, you could still do this list. Maybe you know, just grin and bear it and you're like, okay, I'm going to watch movies and lots of things to watch that either are Christmas movies. There's one I know I saw years ago, but I don't remember ever seeing it all. And I've always wondered why it's called a Christmas movie. So I am going to watch it this year so I can so I can understand why. All right, so that list is, like I said, movies that I want to watch this Christmas. Let me get just that little guy put away as well. This guy put away. This guy stashed off to the side. Okie dokie. So for this list, I am going to be using the Simple Stories Santa's Village collection. Oh, it's a cutie. It's a cute one. Simple Stories Santa's Village. So that is what I have going on over here. I'm going to use that along with Reggie Alpha. Reggie Alpha for my title. Heather, it is. It's Die Hard, right? If you Google Christmas movies for whatever reason, or people talk about Christmas movies, Die Hard is always on that list. And I don't understand why. I'm sure it has to do something about being filmed or part of it's in December or Christmas. I don't know, but I'll watch it. Well, we'll see. We'll see. These are movies I'd like to, not necessarily movies that I will. So I'm going to be using Simple Stories Santa's Village along with Reggie Alpha. Reggie Alpha stamp set is going to be our live giveaway today. Okay, so the way that you participate in a live giveaway is to comment in the chat. We'll have you just chat away, and in a couple of minutes we'll kind of get going and I'll figure things out, figure out exactly what I want to use from Santa's Village. When I get going, right before I get going, when I get going, whatever, I will stop and I will scroll my finger up in the chat, and wherever it stops, that will be the person that wins the live prize. Okay, really quick though, I did mention these guys and I said I would show them to you so you know that they are now in stock. These are the metal dies for in the box 2, and in the circle. Oh my gosh, I've had so much fun with it in the circle. We did a list a couple weeks ago. That guy. No, that was on the 23rd. So kind of a couple weeks ago, I guess. A week ago, 10 days ago. Anyhow, but used that in the circle stamp and die set. Okay. Movies that I want to watch this Christmas. If you're listing with me, what would be on your list? If you're not listing with me, what would be on your list? What is a movie that you would like to see this Christmas? Even if you have seen it before, even if you'll be watching it for the 87th time, that's okay. Oh, Ms. L, Love Actually, that is on my list. It is on my list. Hi, Linda May. It is totally on my list. Love Actually. Okay. So I pulled out the Santa's Village paper pad, and this is a 1-page list, but I think it's going to be 2. I think I'll do my list over here or here, and then, have something fun going on the other side. This is a really easy one. This would be a really easy one to use as my opposing page because all the decorations kind of done there. And you know what it kind of reminds me of? Kind of reminds me a little bit of one of the movies on my list, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, because I love that movie. So maybe we'll just keep it simple. We'll start with this guy. So this guy will go over here, and then I need something on the opposing page and something pretty plain. How about the red polka dot? That's just always a good one. Classic red polka dot. All right, so what I'm going to do, 99.9% of the time, I am always doing my list on the left page and my kind of decorating on the right page if it is a 2-page list and only one side is decorated. I'm going to swap that. I will be doing it kind of like I did this one, where decoration on the left, list on the right. Much easier to do it that way when we're basically down to the end of the insert. There's so much happening over here and not a lot happening over here. Just makes it a little bit easier to work. With that said, I'm actually going to work off the page. All right, I'm going to work off the page. I'll do everything here and then go ahead and add here, insert those pages, those lists back into that Traveler's Notebook insert. Okay, so we know how to start. We need to trim it down because they are too wide. They are 6 by 8, and I would like to use 4 3/4 by 8. So this little guy right there. And now this one, I do not, because it's pretty centered here, right? So I kind of have to trim a little bit from both sides. So it is 6 inches wide, and I need to go 4 3/4, so I could do a half plus 2. I don't laugh at me, please. A half, hang on, I need to go a half, right? So if we're at 6, if I go a half plus 2 from each side, and then here, oh, that's easy. Now here we just go to 4 3/4. Okay, then that way I'm still centered. That way I'm still centered. Hi Don. Don said such cute papers. I know, right? It is the cutest collection. It really is just sweet. It's super cute. I used this collection in, well, one of several, but I used this in my December documented mini book project kit for this year. All right, so if this is left facing, I need to get out my little corner rounder and round the outside left corners. Jennifer, half plus 2, that's my kind of math, right? I know, right? So much easier that way. I don't even know. I don't know what all those little, okay, a little bit, I'm kind of kidding, kind of a little tongue in cheek, but look at all those things. I don't know, that's a half, then you get the 8ths, and I don't know, 1/8, and half of 1/8 is 1 something, I don't know. Sometimes, guess what, we're crafting, we're not doing math, so if I can keep the 2 separated, I would prefer to keep the 2 separated. So half plus 2 works for me. Half plus 2 works for me. Okay, there we go. List over here. We'll go with white. I always go with white. I was just trying to decide if I wanted to go with a lined or a grid from my lined or grid papers, or if I just wanted to go with plain old white cardstock. And I think I will go with plain old white cardstock. So I had cut that out before, right? That was my 4 3/4 by 8. So let's just eyeball this and make a little mark. Oh, where's my pencil? There is no pencil there. Would there be a pencil over here? Oh, yes. Okay. There and there. It's in some other part of the house. It's actually in one of my bags that I have not unpacked yet. Probably from when I was seeing Amy. Everything came out of the suitcase. I flew last week. Last week? Week before last. Time flies. Week before last to go see Amy, and we had a really good planning session for 2025, and I had some things with me that are out of the suitcase but not unpacked, and I think one of those things was pencil. All right, so now, it works that it's pretty stark. Usually it bothers me that when that piece just sits on the pattern paper because it usually looks pretty stark. Case in point would be this list that we did. I ended up taking a foam blending tool and inking the edges of that piece so the green kind of matched the green underneath it, if you can see that. But here, there's so much white over here in kind of this little Santa's Village that it's okay. I don't feel like I need to ink that, so I'm not going to. All right, let's start out by doing our little outline here, because that has to happen always. Always, always, always. And then I'm going to outline, and then I will stop, and then I'll let my fingers do the walking. Let your fingers do the walking. That is actually something that is on. Let me make sure I got that. Let your fingers do the walking. Yes, it is one of the things on my next list. I'll let my fingers do the walking, and we'll see who wins prize. So I'm going to scroll up and stop. Wanda Bradford. Wanda Bradford. Wanda, you win the Reggie, and it's the solid Reggie. There's two Reggies. There's Reggie and there's Reggie outlined. So you win the Reggie Alpha stamp set. So Wanda, please shoot me an email, lailbymail@gmail.com. In the subject line of the email, put winner, Reggie Alpha stamp set, and then put your mailing address in the body of the email. And we'll get your prize shipped. All right, so that's how the live prizes go. Congratulations, Wanda. That is how the live prizes go. There's also after party prizes. After party prize is something that happens after we're done. And you participate in that by leaving a comment on the video when it's over. So not the chat. Comment on the video when it is over. And I will draw another prize before we're together again on the 14th. That person will win another prize. We'll talk about what that is in a minute. Okay, so this is movies I want to watch, right? Movies I want to watch this Christmas. So really, the thing I want to focus on for the title is the word movies. So let's grab our little stamping blocks out again. Those are always coming in and out, in and out, in and out. Grabbing another one of my little cylinders, right? So there's a set of two with that. I think it's those two. There we go. So you have one that's a little bit larger, one that's a little bit smaller. These work great for your mini icons, but basically your smaller stamps just makes it a little bit easier to hold and maneuver. So when it comes to a word, I prefer to stamp each letter individually as opposed to putting all the letters on a block and stamping them at one time. That is because I like to control the placement of the letters and how close they can be together. So I used Reggie Alpha stamp set. Let me find it. Oh, I used it on this list, and I stamp each of those letters individually so I could control how close they are together. If you stamp them in one kind of block, which you can totally do, nothing wrong with that, but if you stamp them in one block, you can only get the letters squished so close together because each stamp has a little kind of buffer of the stamp material around it. And that's just what I like to do. So I'm going to draw with a pencil. Let's just place this guy right there. Is that a good height? Because I'll also have to write the rest of my title underneath it. So that looks pretty good. I'm just doing this so I have a reference point. Since this is unlined, it's just a plain white piece of cardstock. I have now given myself a little line to do my stamping on. All right, now the other thing, ooh, you know what? We better make sure that, let's just pull all these off here. Make sure that we have enough room here. M-O-V. Oh yeah, we'll be fine. But this will also help me to make sure I know where to start. I-E-S. All right, so I think we'll move over a tad. We'll move over to about right there. Okay, M-O-V-I-E-S. Now, we need to pick a color. So we're on red, so I think I probably don't want to use red. I think we'll go for a green, and let's see if we can kind of come up with something that is that greenish. Oops. Where'd my swatches go? Oh, here we go. I am thinking, I don't know, Rustic Wilderness might be a little blue. Let's look. Mowed Lawn is well, actually, not necessarily. Mowed Lawn could work there. Mowed Lawn's pretty fun and green, isn't it? Evergreen Bough, too light. Pine Needles, too light. Rustic Wilderness. You know what? I think it's going to be Mowed Lawn. I think Mowed Lawn is what we're going to go with. And that works because it's kind of closest to that green as well. All right, before we get too much further here, get that put down. All right. So guess what? I forgot As I was working away, I don't even know what movies you guys said you wanted to see. I saw a couple. Didn't I? Um, 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 um. Wanda, and I just saw tomorrow's you and your husband's anniversary, 43 years. Congratulations. Tell him you got an early anniversary present from me. He'll be like, wow, that's pretty awesome. Or he'll be like, oh, that's nice, honey, whatever. He'd be like, huh, what? That'd be Nick. Oh, okay, whatever. Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, mowed lawn. Let's grab mowed lawn. All right. Got too many things in the way here. Too many things in the way. Home Alone, yes. Home Alone on my list as well. Karen Haynes, hello. Also, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is on my list for sure. This kind of reminds me of that little Rudolph scene, whatever. All right, let's look. We're just doing a little test stamping over here. M. M. Clean really quickly. Clean, 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 clean. Now, I already feel like I have gone too far. I feel like it's too far over to the left. Just from what I am going to guess. I think it's too far over to the left, but there's not a lot I can do about that. M-O. M-O-V-I-E-S. Oh, I didn't even test that one. Usually when they're little like this, sometimes we're testing to make sure that there isn't a little hair or something on the stamp that's going to prevent the ink from, sticking in that place. M-O-V-I-E-S. And so if you missed it and you're like, why is she stamping each of those individually? I like to control. You can see I like to get my letters fairly close together. And you can't necessarily do that when you are putting them all on the same block because there's a little buffer stamping material in between each of the letters. So that's why I do that, if you were wondering. M-O-V-I-E-S. Had to make sure I'm not missing any letters there. Karen said Wizard of Oz was always televised during the Christmas season, even though it's not, right? There are some movies like that, like we were talking about earlier, like Die Hard. I mean, Die Hard, I guess it happened in December, but around Christmas time. But it's not necessarily a Christmas movie, right? But people kind of, for whatever reason, think that, oh yeah, Christmas time, Die Hard. Alrighty. So we're a little bit off center there, but that's okay because we will find a little something, something to fill that in, or we'll add something over to the right there. Movies, and I will wait to erase that line. I want to wait to erase the line because that is a pigment-based ink. Distress oxides are pigment-based ink. They take a little second to dry, so I would never want to go in there right away with an eraser, or I'd make a big old green mess, which is not something that I want to do if I can help it. Golly, that line is totally crooked. All right, so let's take a look at what we want to add here. Oh, look at. All right, these are the bits and pieces. We better grab a tray out for this. I haven't opened one of these packages yet, so I'm going to see what we have to work with. See what kind of fun is in store that we might want to use. Karen is from Kansas originally, and her grandmother's name was truly Dorothy. That is quite amusing. Quite amusing that her middle name was Dorothy and her first name was Truly. Just kidding. We all know I'm kidding there, right? Oh, that's good, Mimi. Hydration break. Yes, hydration break. That's always a good idea. I'm grabbing my water. Oh, there's not much left in there. If you have not had anything to drink in a bit, have a drink. There we go. Okay. So I first saw these little guys right off the bat. They're cute. Those little gold foil stars. Maybe we could put those in a couple different places. We'll see how many there are. Santa's Village has the collection that we're playing with has gold foil accents in it. So super fun. But what I would, no, I can't put anything there because we could put that, no, too much. I still need to write the rest of my title there. Movies I want to see this Christmas, but this is, all right, so look at this little guy. That's pretty cute. I mean, he could just go right down there. He's kind of big, but he could go there. I mean, I don't have that many movies on my list. Let's see. Oh, there's a big Santa. Or Santa could go, Santa's pretty cute. I don't know, we might need Santa. I think we need Santa. Santa over here. I think Santa needs to be over there. We better write the rest of our title. I know I'm going to forget that. Movies. Movies I want to watch this month, really. Movies I want to watch this month. All right. Now we'll do a little separator here because once I start making my list, there'll be a little bit too much going on. And I think maybe we'll make this a double guy. All right. Okay, movies I want to watch this month. Now, we may end up, I'm still kind of liking the thought of having our little stars just kind of, randomly in between my little things on my list here, right? Oh, so I don't have that many things. So you know what I need to do? I need to go vertical. Well, as opposed to, I need to have this be like a vertical bulleted list as opposed to a horizontal run-on list. What I mean by that, so that is like a vertical bulleted list as opposed to a run-on, oh, there's another one. As opposed to a run-on list, that would be a run-on list. And I don't really have that many things to go on a run-on list. Wow. So I think I will do a like a bulleted list. We'll just put our little star there. That will be cute. Okay, let's grab our little glue pen. Turn that guy over. Get the little adhesive on there. How's Christmas shopping going? Are you Christmas shopping? Have you started? It's like how it started, how it's going, right? Have you started? Did you do Black Friday shopping? I used to way back in the day. I don't know about you guys, but did you ever way back in the day before there was like internet shopping? I know it seems like it's in the olden ages, like long time ago, right? Where you would get up really early in the morning and go get in line at like 5 in the morning and wait for the stores to open. Did you ever do that? I loved that. I used to go with my friend Karen and we did it every year. And one of the biggest Thanksgiving memories that always is in my head as an adult, actually probably as an adult parent, was after dinner on Thanksgiving, we'd always be at my mother-in-law's and I would have the newspaper and I'd bring the big giant newspaper because the Thanksgiving newspaper, the newspaper from Thanksgiving Day was always huge because it was filled with all the ads. And I'd go through and look at all the things and I'd make a list of the places I wanted to go early Black Friday morning. And then I'd get home that night and I'd call my friend Karen. Okay, what does my list look like? What does your list look like? Okay, what's our plan of attack? Who's going to pick who up? What's our first place that we're going to go? And yeah, that was just, I kind of miss that, right? It was just kind of fun. All right. So I need a little, let me look at the sticker book really quickly to see if there are some little stickers. Let's look. There might be enough little star stickers that I could use as little bullets for my lists, but I think I'll probably end up using So let's see, how many movies do I have that I'd like to see? I don't know when I'm going to find time to watch all these, but it can be a wish list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10. So can I find 10 little stars? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh yeah, I can totally do it. Oh, look at these are all little tiny ones. I think we'll go from this page. There's plenty there. All right, so let's start out with we might as well do Roy G. Biv, right? We might as well start with red or pink, right? Because pink would be the first one in our little rainbow of Christmas colors here. 1, and then a red. 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think we better maybe a little bit more space in between. Let's see how that works. No measuring here. All right, so then we'll go to light blue. Oh, these are teeny little guys. That's where those reverse grip tweezers certainly help. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we should be okay. And then we'll go light green. And then dark green, and then we'll start our order over again. And dark green. Hopefully we have enough of all those little same color stars to work with. Some of these movies I've seen, there are a couple on my list I have not seen. So that's what I should really start with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Start with the ones I haven't seen first, knowing I will never get to see all of these. Amy, I have not seen Wicked. Did you guys see Wicked? I am going out of town. I'm going out of town on Friday for a week. Nick and I are going with another couple. And in the middle of that trip, both Nick and my friend Sherry's husband, Nick's very good friend, Scott, they both Nick and Scott, have to leave on a business trip, separately, not together. So in the middle of the trip, they're leaving for like 2 days. And so I'm thinking, oh, maybe Sherry and we should go see Wicked. Because I don't think Nick will have any interest in seeing Wicked. It's a really funny story. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, light blue. Years ago, we were with our friends, couples, the Becks, so Sherry and Scott that I just talked about, and the Petrowskis, Carrie and Karen. You hear me talk about Karen sometimes. 9, 10. We went to see The Greatest Showman. Okay, remember The Greatest Showman, you guys? Okay, now I need one more light green star. Remember The Greatest Showman. So Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman. I think it was Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey. I don't remember how that all worked out. But it was a musical. Okay? And so the movie starts, and it's about, 5 minutes in, and Nick turns to me, and very loudly in the theater, he's like, "Is this a musical?" So it was kind of funny. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure Nick would have no interest in seeing Wicked. Now, nothing against musicals, but it was quite funny. I don't know. Chick flick? Oh, that's way too big. All right, we're going to have to decide not to go with. I don't have a small light green. So we'll go with the dark green, and then we'll go back to the pink again. We'll just skip that little light green. No one will know. It'll be fine. It'll be okay. Green, and then our pink again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I better check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. Okay. 10 movies on my list that I'll just remember this for next year, because I'm sure I'll get to watch 1 or 2 and maybe catch a rerun of something. A rerun, they're all reruns. Maybe catch a part of something. All right. So I need something really small here. What we were talking about before, I don't have much room, so I'll put Die Hard here. And not that I'm, dying to see Die Hard. I think I saw it or saw part of it many years ago, and I'm always like, why is that a Christmas movie that people want to see at Christmas? So I will see that. Maybe, probably not. Die Hard. The next one is Elf. And again, I'm starting from the bottom because I have less room, so I need to find less room here than I do up here, so I need to find the movies that have shorter titles. Elf is always a good one, right? Oh, Buddy the Elf. Nick and I went to the Jazz game on Sunday night, Jazz basketball. They were playing the Lakers. And one of the fans that was like sitting right on the court, chair right on the court, was dressed as Buddy the Elf. It was so funny. I love the movie Elf. I love it. I like Will Ferrell too. I like Will Ferrell. Okay, something smaller. Oh, Home Alone. Home Alone. Yep, we'll make it fit here. We might have to do this. Nope, Home Alone. Home Alone with Kevin. Poor Kevin. Kevin! Home Alone. And then I have, what would fit here? There's one I haven't. Oh, no, I know. How about Love Actually? Love Actually. That's a love story. It has a good ending. Let's see. Oh, The Holiday. This is one I haven't seen. It's one with Kate Winslet that looked like it might be kind of good. So The Holiday. More room here. Let's see. How about The Family Stone? Oh my gosh. That is with Diane Keaton. Family Stone. Oh, it's good. It's sad, but it's good. Dawn said she watched Love Actually for the first time last year. Let's see. Louisa likes Die Hard. You guys, I love it. Are having all these chats in all these conversations in the chat about the movies. Okay, but I'm going to keep going. We're going to keep going. The Family Stone. Yes, Louisa. It is Diane Keaton, the guy that played Coach. I don't remember his name. The guy that played Coach years ago. Oh, that's funny. Linda May, Four Christmases is also on my list. Four Christmases. We'll put it right there. Four Christmases. I haven't seen that one either. Christmases. Have not seen Four Christmases. I'm just marking them off my list over here. Four Christmases. Reese Witherspoon and Vince Vaughn, which I love both of them. Obviously Christmas Vacation, because that's just one of the best Christmas movies of all time. So funny. And then we have A Charlie Brown Christmas. And I have not seen that in, oh my gosh, I don't know how long. Probably since our kids were little. So we've got to see that. And then Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I love that. That's the cartoon. All right, so those are a list of movies that I would like to watch this holiday season, okay? Now I feel like we need to just maybe do a little outline over here because, that's what we do. So I used three things from Santa's Village. I used the 6x8 paper pad. I used stickers from the sticker book, basically all those little stars, whoopsie, right around Santa. And then I used the bits and pieces for Santa and for the little gold star. And Santa has little gold foil accents on his little hat as well. All right, I think we're good. Where is my eraser? Guess what? My eraser is probably with the pencil. Maybe this guy. Oh, yes. Okay, let's just erase that line that I had used to line up that little guy. If you like the Reggie Alpha stamp set, you will be excited about a stamp that is coming next year. Okay, so let's do this. Move these things out of the way. We'll move them to the floor for now and grab adhesive. I'm going to go ahead and adhere these into my insert. I need two types of adhesive for this. I need My gosh, migraine's coming on. Isn't that weird? I can totally feel it. I do not get any kind of aura, but I feel it. It's coming. Okay. So I need two kinds of adhesive. I need my regular tape runner for the right page. And for the left page, I need something a little bit sturdier. I'm going to use my 1/4 inch score tape. And the reason I'm going to do that, really I only need to use it along that straight edge that will be going right here, but I might as well just use it on the whole thing. The reason I need to use something that's much stronger than my regular tape runner is because there's so much that has happened on that left side up until this point, right? There's a lot of pages. A lot of pages, even though we really don't use anything dimensional in our inserts. I don't use pop dots or foam stickers or chipboard or enamel dots or anything because it's just too bumpy when you go to, work on the next page. But even so, with all of that, there's just a lot that's happened. So I need to make sure that this part that sits right there doesn't lift off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reveal just a little bit of that adhesive that is in place when I kind of peel off part of that little protective backing. You'll notice as I'm doing that, I am taking the parts that I have pulled off, or kind of started to pull off, and I push them out the sides. That means, and I'm going to do this upside down because I'm right-handed, makes it a lot easier for me to do this, that I have a little bit of wiggle room. If you've ever used double-sided tape like that before, you're using it because it is sticky. It's super sticky. That's the good part of it. The bad part of it is that it's sticky, super sticky. So if you get it crooked, once it's there, it's there. It's really hard to remove without making a mess of everything. So by just revealing a little bit of that, I can be totally moving this around, which I'd never be able to do if I had pulled all of that off. So I want to make sure, kind of as I line this up, that I'm okay on that edge. I'm okay over here. Oops, I lost my little guy. All right, so now that I've done that, I can press down on all the parts that have been revealed and then gently slide the rest of that out. That is going to make it so that this piece right here lays nice and flat because it's super strong. It's not going to want to pop up in the air. And if I used any other adhesive there, it would pop up in the air. It would not lay flat just because there's so much that has happened on that side. All right, so that's gonna be it. Super plain, but a lot of that decorating is happening over there. If I was not working in a traveler's notebook, I'd probably be getting out some foam stickers or something, or some pop dots, just to kind of give a little bit more dimension over here. But I think we're good to go. The only other thing I might do is to grab maybe one of these other little guys, one of my little stars. I think I might grab a couple stars and just place them in a couple of strategic places over here on the left, just to kind of jazz it up a little bit, and then tie in with some of the gold and the stars that are on the right side of the page. All right, let's see what we get. That looks like a good one for there. Because a little gold foil is always a fun thing. Little gold foil goes a long way though, right? Okay, so we'll put that guy right there. Just add a couple of those and then we'll be good. Then we'll be ready for our last list of the evening. So we're looking at about, I'm in Utah, so I'm mountain time, so 7:45, but 6:45 Pacific time. I always say specific time when I am listing times for our listing when I'm listing times for any of my classes, just because Pacific, most people know Pacific. When you start to get into mountain time, a lot of people don't know mountain time. And then central time is probably I'd say Pacific and then Eastern and then, but I always say Pacific because it's just a little bit easier. I think that's good, right? I don't think I really need any other ones. I think that's good. All right, so we just added a little bit more jazz there. And there is my list. Oh, wait, we need to date this. All right, we need to date this. So there's my little list. Movies I'd like to watch this Christmas. And we'll just do this. This is December 2024. This would be a fun list if you have little kids. This would be a fun thing to do as a couple. This would be a fun thing to do with friends. Just make a list, even if it's mentally, movies that you want to watch this holiday season, but it could be fun with littles, I think. Get your little kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, whatever it is, sit down and have them write, right? A lot of times it is difficult to get kids to write. Kids, teenagers, adults, this could be a fun thing to get them kind of writing and then thinking and then talking with others about what they want to do, right? All right, so that is our second list. Our third list is another list that we will do off the page, again, because we are at the very end. It's just going to make it so much easier for me to work off the page as opposed to directly onto the page. This one, I am going to use the Simple Stories for the Record. This one is a list that came up when I was teaching at my friend Lizzie Lou's October Halloween retreat. One night, some of us were up rather late and we were just talking, and somebody said something and we started rattling off these things, and someone said, "Oh my gosh, that would be a great list topic, Lael." Like, oh my gosh, it would be. So basically this one is either phrases you don't hear anymore, or maybe it's that phrases or things that kids these days wouldn't understand. Things like, when I said before, let your fingers do the walking, right? Let your fingers do the walking. Do you know what that's from? Let your fingers do the walking. So I have pulled out 2 pieces of paper from the For the Record collection. Nancy, that is right. The yellow pages. Let your fingers do the walking. And now people would be like, yellow pages? What's a yellow page, right? What is the yellow page? Do you believe that? We used to have giant books in our homes, 2 of them. The white pages, so you could look up people's phone numbers, and then the yellow pages, so you could look up business phone numbers. I mean, isn't that, to think that, yes, let your fingers do the walking. Kids would have no clue what that is, right? They would have no clue. So this will be a fun one, right? This will be a fun one because I imagine there'll be kind of lots of fun things in the chat as we're talking about, what's going on. All right, so 2 papers I have pulled out of the For the Record paper pad. For the Record is one of Simple Stories' newest collections. They usually, about this time of the year, come out with a collection like this that is kind of a really good all-purpose collection that you can use for lots of different things. So this one doesn't necessarily have a theme to it. It does a little bit in other parts of it, but I've pulled out things that really are just pretty generic. Scrapbook Sista, I did not know that. The blue pages for the government. Interesting. Blue pages. So now I'm curious if there are other color of pages, right? Very interesting. I wonder. Kelly's Creative Dreams. That is so fun. She says, I have 2 to use in junk journals. She has 2. Remember people used to bring them to your house in like a plastic bag and put it on your front porch so that it didn't get like wet or ruined. Stephanie said, our county still issues a smaller version of the phone book and my mom still gets one in Germany. Oh, that's fascinating. Fascinating. Okay, so we need to trim these papers down. We are starting with this guy. This one we are trimming down to 4 3/4, right? That's kind of my jam. That's usually what I start out with, 4 3/4, like that. All right. So what I'm thinking here, but I don't think I'll end up doing it this way, but I'll just show you. My mind was thinking something there. So this one is also going to be 4 3/4. And I want to go from the right as opposed to the left because the left has that kind of fun little piece to it that I would like to have. So the piece that I cut off, I had originally started out by doing that. I'm like, ooh, could that work there? And that could go together like that. That still might actually work. This guy, because I never write my lists on colored paper. I mean, so rarely, so rarely. If I was going to, something like this would be really easy because you have all those different colors. This is just me, not something I would ever do. I like a lot of white. So what my plan is to take a piece of white cardstock that I always go to for my list and let us, most of it is blue. So if we, I'll tell you what this measurement ends up being shortly. This will make all the sense in the world in a minute. All right, so it is about, oh, it's just like one shy. It's like probably like 3 7/8. 3 7/8 or 3 15. Well, technically that'd be 14/16, but so it's about 3 7/8, 4, just to be easy, just say 4. 4 is easy. By about, well, I can't see what that is. So 3 7/8, just say 4. It's about 4 by 7 1/4. So this will come over here, but then you're like, well, Lael, then what? You totally lose all that. That doesn't make any sense. And I say, we don't have to lose it. I'm not going to lose it. I am going to get out a very well used and very old self-healing cutting mat. If that looks familiar, that brand, then you know how old this is. Making Memories, right? That was a brand that was around a long time ago. So what I am going to do, I am going to get out my little X-Acto knife or my craft knife, and I'm going to around that, and this little guy will just slide right in there. So as we look for that, that's the paper piercer. That is the craft knife. Okay. Let's see. The phone booth would always be the missing page you need, right? Remember they had them in the phone booths. Stephanie says, do you recall using them on chairs to raise kids up when they were too small for the adult table? Totally, yes. The Telephone Man. Kelly, I don't remember that song, The Telephone Man. The Thomas Guide. Oh, yes, Thomas Guide. If you lived in Southern California, Thomas Guide was the only way that you knew how to go anywhere, right? Thomas Guide. Nancy, how many phone books are in the landfill, right? Thomas Guide. I remember, so Thomas Guide. My grandparents lived in Orange County, lived in Southern California, all while I was growing up, including when I started driving. And so we'd drive out, my sister and I, or friends or whatever, drive out to Southern California for a couple of weeks every summer, spend it with my grandparents and go to the beach and, just have lots of fun. Well, back then, okay, mind you, I'm 56 years old. So 40 years ago, no cell phones, no internet. So you couldn't even like MapQuest it and print it out. No, what was the GPS called? I can't remember. Started with a T. It was 2 words. Long before your little GPS device, because cell phones not even back then, because cell phones at one point didn't have that little TomTom. TomTom? Was that it? Anyhow, that was like a GPS device. So if you're driving around Southern California, especially if you're a Utah girl and you don't really know where you're going, your grandparents arm you with a Thomas Guide, which was like a giant spiral map, like giant. And I don't even know, I guess like I must have had to like look at it beforehand. And then, cause it's not something you could be like looking at while you were driving, trying to figure out where you were going. So yeah, Thomas Guide. It was giant. I mean, think about being a taxi cab driver back in those days. Taxi cab driver, trying to know everywhere where you were going. Now they just plug it in their phone or Uber or Lyft or, all right. So I am just kind of roughly following around that little pattern there because my list is going to tuck right in there. Let's see if that's enough. All right, so gently start to lift that. You see that? Now I have created a little pocket for my list to slide into, like that. All right, so what I think I will do before I get too much further, I think that I would like to, and I know this needs to be a 2-page list. So I think that I will, well, let's figure out what we're gonna do for our title, what color I wanna stamp the title. And then I will figure out how I want to, oh, I know, this is what I was thinking maybe could work here. What if this goes over here? See if that's a little bit too much. Let's move it so we can really see. So is that a little bit too much if I'm taking that piece that we had cut? Sometimes we'll do that and add that to the opposite page to kind of help it all lean in together. I think we should do that. I do just need to go a little bit further over here because it wasn't quite even. It wasn't quite even. Gregory Street Directory, Debbie. Like, who's Gregory and who's Thomas? And they're probably the people that invented the things, right? Gregory and Thomas and yeah, that's it. So doing that little thing, anytime I see a piece of paper that has a little kind of cutout like that, when we're making a list, it makes it a little bit more difficult to use a piece of paper like that because without like covering it up, but that's an easy way. Also, if you are working in, well, a 12 by 12, maybe you're working on a 12 by 12 layout, or you are working maybe in a 6 by 8 album or something, do the same thing with a photo. Just stick the photo in there, and it just takes a little bit of time, right? A little bit of a steady hand, just to do your little X-Acto. And if you're like, I don't have the patience for that. Really, no one would know if you cut all the way across here. Be a lot easier if you cut across there and then did that, as opposed to, you know, trying to not cut. But just kind of a different way to use some of your products. And then it looks super fancy, right? It's not fancy, it just looks super fancy. All right, so this we're going to put here to kind of lend a little bit of continuity between left and right page. All right, and then we have our list. Now, before we before we adhere that, we need to just do a little bit of thinking here. Do we want to, what color do we want our title to be? So our title will be phrases, and then I'll, you know, do my little writing around that. So, well, do we look at the yellow? I know that's no surprise. Some of you are like, of course I would look at the yellow because I always gravitate towards yellow. Red, orange, yellow. Frosted. Fossilized amber. Mustard seed. Okay, so if we go up there, mustard seed could be fun. As we work our way down, we could do like a light pink. That one might be a little bit harder to find, that color. Let's see if we can find that. Tumbled glass. Tumbled glass. I think we should use tumbled glass. The reason I'm going to stray from the yellow is that the yellow happens to be the top little stripe there. And so I'd like to kind of mix it up a little bit. I don't want to necessarily have yellow so close to that yellow. So we'll go with tumbled glass. Tumbled glass. Okay. Tumbled glass will be right here. And for my letters, we're going to stamp the title. And I'm going to pull out, we looked at, we used part of this when we were together on Saturday when I started my little kind of entry for out the window. What we talked about when we did that is that this stamp set's super versatile. I use the stamp set most often for my out the window lists, where I'm really pairing it with this little guy, the little grid, and then the little whatever vehicle it is. Either I'm flying from one city to the next, or maybe it's just one city I'm driving to if it's a car or RV or whatever it may be. But this whole part of the set, so those both come together, a 6x8 and a 3x3. But that whole part of the set is just a really great all-purpose set because you have the alpha, you have all of the months, you have all of the numbers, you have years 2021 through 2025. So I am going to use this for part of my title. And this is phrases, right? Phrases that kids these days wouldn't understand. You know what that sounds like? What, the Fresh Prince from Bel-Air. Anyhow, something about wouldn't understand. P-H-R-A, ooh, who didn't clean that one off last? Whoever used it last. I wonder who that might be. Phrases. All right, so I only have one S, but that's an easy one. I'll just add the S on at the end. Now let's make sure that we have enough room here. P-H-A-R-A-S-E-S. Oh yeah, we've got plenty of room again. Now, we saw what happened before when I didn't really leave. I thought I had to be too far over. So let's get a little pencil out. I'm going to bring this a little bit closer to me this time so I can attempt to get my straight line with the ruler. Sometimes when you're too far away from it, it's too hard to see. Let me go right up about there. Oh, look, I'll use that little line right there. Okay. Here's my little line. This is my imaginary line, so I can stamp on that. It's a pretty tall, narrow alpha. Before I moved those, I should have figured out where I wanted that to go to start. Phrases kids today wouldn't understand. All right, I think if we start maybe about right there. Again, I'm in pencil and I will just stamp using that pencil line as a grounding point so I know to make it straight and where to start. And then when everything's dry, I will come back in and I will erase it. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Maybe a little bit low. Pretty good. All right, I was going to ink the edges and then I forgot until just now. Okay, let's get out our stamping block. And I think this little guy will work for all of those. Yep, so that is the 1.625 little round stamping block. And if you weren't with me on the last list when I stamped the title, I mentioned that I like to stamp each of my letters individually as opposed to loading them all up on the same block and stamping at once, because I like to control how close I can get my letters together. Not quite, but you know what? I think that's going to be as close as we're going to get, right? I don't think there is speckled egg. Is speckled egg better? I think we better change plans. We're going to speckled egg. Speckled egg is the better of the two when it comes to matching. So speckled egg is right there. We need to clean, right? We have to clean because pigment-based inks, distress oxides, pigment-based inks, blendable. So if I have one color on and I don't clean it and dry it before I put another color on, it will change the color of what I was hoping to get. So that's an important part of that process. Okay, let's see if we like this P better. That sounded funny. That be better? That looked like, that was weird. It looked like it had a bunch of black in it. It doesn't. Well, we're just going to do it. We're just going to do it, and then I'm going to need to clean some. I'm going to need to clean those other stamps that I didn't clean after I had used them last. P, phrases. So tell me, what are some phrases you think kids today would not understand? Okay, Kelly, I missed part of. Kelly said something about, I think she's talking about packing up some of her things, some of her craft supplies. And it sounds like she has some of her Lail by Mail products packed in a separate thing because she said, I have lots of stuff at home to use, but if I just want to take something to play in, Lail is packed. That sounds so funny. That sounds so funny. I do the same thing. I have, when I'm working in my like junk journal glue book, I have bags that are just packed. It just has all the stuff in it. So then it's really easy to just grab and go. Because usually that's the only time I work on it. Not at home. Okay. PH. Phrases. That looks so weird. Does that ever look odd to you when you're spelling something and you're like, ooh, is that how it's spelled? That's how it's spelled. But you second guess yourself. Let's see. 111 Renee's said there are 90 people watching right now and only 58 likes. Well, that's an easy remedy, isn't it? That's an easy remedy. Let's get some more likes. And I know not everyone here was at the beginning, and some people that were here at the beginning are no longer here, which means that it's even less than that. Stitch in time saves 9. Right, Carolee. So what does that mean? Stitch in time saves 9. What's the origin, right? I love hearing things like that then you like go and figure out what's the origin. Like, why do they say that? Like, you know, the whole 9 yards. Have you ever heard that when they say the whole 9 yards? The whole 9 yards is because a dump truck, cement truck, holds 9 yards of cement. That's why it's called the whole 9 yards. I think those are, hey, you know what? That would be a really fun list to do. To take some of the sayings that you say, like the whole 9 yards, and then define what they really mean, right? Like how they originated. How about that? How they originated, or why people say those things. Like, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, right? Like, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Do you know what that is from? That is from back in the day when there were dowries and the bride's family would give the groom's family a dowry for the bride. I mean, that's a whole other thing, right? Here, your son is marrying my daughter. Here's a cow and a horse. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. So the whole thing there was basically someone is giving you a horse as a gift. Don't open its mouth and look inside because it's rude. Because they could tell the health of the horse by looking at the horse's teeth. And so if you're looking a gift horse in the mouth, you're basically, questioning the value of the gift. So I think that'd be a lot of fun. Oh, Cindy. Hi, Cindy. You can lead a horse to water, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So that would be fun to do. I'm going to write that down. That would be a fun list, future list to do. The things that you like to say, and then like the true meaning. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's another one, right? That is another one. Can I get an 8-inch cord instead of, 8-foot cord for the phone instead of a 4? That goes back to, right? The phone was on the wall. The phone was on the wall, or, well, for me, the phone was on the wall, and it had the cord that was all curly, and you drag it. You have to drag the cord, stretch the cord as long as it could go, because you wanted to be able to talk in the closet or in your bedroom or wherever, so no one could hear you. And then the cord was like super long, and it would wind up. Hi, honey. How did it go? You're back early.
I know.
That wasn't even 2 hours.
We're quick.
Yeah. Any drama?
No, people complaining about people being noisy.
Really?
Apparently this house over here is terrible.
That same one?
They've gotten better. I talked to the homeowner behind him. But...
Oh my gosh. Well, all right. Anyhow. Okay, phrases. All righty. Helmsman. Helms. Louisa, what is helms? I don't know. Back to that. Stephanie, so that's interesting. Now there's 2 words. There's 2 origins, it sounds like, for the whole 9 yards. The one I talked about, the cement truck holding 9 yards of concrete. Stephanie said, back in the early wars, the strip of shells fed through guns was 9 yards long. Isn't that interesting? That is so interesting. Rule of thumb was not a good thing. I don't know what that is. Go change the channel. Yeah. All right. So we're just about done with our title, and then we'll get into it. Oh, there it is. There's my E. There's my E. So here's the thing when it comes to stamps, alpha stamps. So alpha stamps are, I love using alphabet stamps because you never run out of a letter, right? And you pretty much always can get the exact color you need, assuming you have the ink, right? So if you're using alphabet stickers, you run out of stickers, and sometimes you don't have the right color. Alphabet stickers definitely are quicker to use, but you have lots more flexibility when it comes to alphabet stamps. So that's what we're using tonight. We're doing a couple of our titles with alphabet stamps. Oh, did I put the S away already? I did. Okay. If the lights come on, it's time to be home, right? Yes, if the lights come on, it's time to be home. I grew up in a town in Utah, well, 4th grade on, called Park City. It is a ski town. And Park City, there was a thing called the 10 o'clock whistle. Many years ago, Park City was a mining town. And so the 10 o'clock whistle was a really loud, like air horn thing that you could hear all in town. And the 10 o'clock whistle would always go off when all of the miners made it back safely. So if the 10 o'clock whistle did not go off at 10 o'clock, then that was trouble. So we would always, when I got a little bit older and you were out doing whatever, playing outside, well, I was in 4th grade. So my parents said, you got to be, when the 10 o'clock whistle goes off, that means it's time to come home. And you were just playing outside. All right. Helms Bakery Truck. Baked goods. Yeah, I've never heard of Helms. Never heard of Helms. All right, phrases. So guess what? Again, look at, I'm a little bit too far off to the left. It's okay. We'll figure out something to put there. Phrases, I think I'm going to say kids today just wouldn't understand. We'll see how much room I have to write that. Phrases. Kids today wouldn't understand. All right, now we've got to do our little divider. Again, usually if I'm jumping right in to do the listing. Not long after that, I like to do some kind of little visual separator. And we also have to do this, our little outlining, because that just looks totally plain. All right. This will end up being a run-on list. Oh, it got hot in here all of a sudden. Here's my other page, a run-on list. I need to get my other. Just had a thought. We have this piece left over from over here that we cut. So would we want to do that? I kind of like it. We just made a little frame. Maybe. So let's get some more white cardstock because I need to do the other part of that list. My baloney. My baloney has a first name, right? Oh my gosh, that's so fun. All of those jingles. Oh my gosh, so we did a jingle list. Oh, it's been a while. We did a jingle list back in, well, I gotta cut that off first. We did a TV jingle list. Oh, I'm getting all loopy all of a sudden. I'm like, where are the things? There was nothing in my water but water. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, but okay. Let's do this first. Cut that little piece like that. And then we need it to be, I don't remember what that was, so we're just eyeballing, I'll tell you. Remember it was almost 4. So if you're doing something like this and it was almost 4 before, then you're doing almost 4 again. And the height is 7 something. 7 1/4. Almost 4 and 7 1/4. Really doesn't matter what this one is. Well, really doesn't matter what the first one was. It just mattered that this one is the same. So let's look at that. And that little guy goes there. What's really interesting about it, because blue is along the bottom, it almost makes it look like it's, you know what? I like it better without. So we're going without. I like it better without. The old jingles, I know the old jingles are the best. Like how fun back in the day to be like in the well, I guess it depends on if you were male or female back in the day. Mad Men, like in the 50s advertising world, coming up with all the jingles. Well, and even jingles past then, but yeah, when we did the jingles list, we had a lot of fun on that one. Lots of like, not singing, but you know, we were all singing in our heads. Okay, so before we do much else, we need to do something over here. So let's figure out what we have to do over here. That guy's in the wrong. Alrighty, so I remember there were some, I don't know. Oh, okay, hold on. There's all kinds of fun. There's part of this line for the record that kind of has this little bit of this vintage feel. Like this, I'm serious. This is exactly how it happened. That might be kind of fun to work in. Something like that, because it's, you know, we're talking about things that are older, things that kids today wouldn't understand. So it might be fun to get a little bit of that vintage feel in there. Oopsie. We've worked with some of these things, pulled out some of these things. But like this little lady, remember, don't forget, that might be kind of fun. We'll see if we can maybe work her in there. And then maybe, I didn't put these together. I didn't put these away last, clearly. We used this collection a couple weeks ago. So let's look at the sticker book too and see what we might find in here. This little, I love this so much. That little tape recorder. I don't know, that tape recorder we might just have to use. That might just be fun to use, that little tape recorder somehow. All right, word strips, flowers. Let's look at the back side and see if we see anything. Maybe. I do not think so. But I'm kind of interested in using one of those ladies. Remember, documented, make a list. Oh, that's perfect for what we do, make a list. Hello today, Don't forget, take note. All right, let's see if we can make that little lady work. Get this out of here. We could cut off. Ooh, okay, so here's the deal. If we want to use her, if we want to use her somewhere, I think so I don't want it to be, that's way too wide, right? That's way too wide. It takes up too much space there. So we'd have her come over like this, but if we have her come over like this, we're going to cut off part of what she is saying. So we just need to come back with something that we can cover that up with, which I'm confident we'll be able to find something. All right, so when I was looking to place that, I really don't want to put that up here because it's too even. And I really don't want to put that down here either because it's too even. So we're just going to have this kind of float, but not, I don't want to get like halfway down. I don't want it to be too even-ish. We'll try that. Maybe more of her comes off. All right, let's try that. See what we come up with here. When the test pattern went off for the night. Yes, on the TV at midnight. So the national anthem would play and then the test pattern would come on, right? That I always remember babysitting, and like if the parents were home late, I'd fall asleep on the couch, and then that would kind of come on because it would always wake me up when that test pattern came on. The national anthem would play and the flag would wave in the wind, and then it would be done. All right, phrases kids today wouldn't understand. We'll end up with something up here. I just don't know what yet. We'll have to figure that out. What's going to go up there? We'll do a little bit of this too. All right. I feel like we need another flower somehow over here because it's really off balance to me. A little off kilter, and so we need something to tie that back in together. So let's look at where did the sticker book go? We just had it. Oh, here it is. Although we might want, I don't know, what do we want? What do we want here? Aha. What if we do that? What if we just put that little guy right there? Then that way we will be just kind of bleeding off into the sunset with her. Like that. And all right, now I feel like we need one more little. Okay, so we have a visual triangle going on here, which is good. 1, 2, 3, there are the points of our triangle, so we're good there. This is now scaled a little bit more closely to that as opposed to that. Just seemed like it was just kind of out there in no man's land. But I feel like now this needs to be 3 things because we're layering. I feel like we need to have one more little thing here. So let's look at, maybe we could use this guy. Let's just see what happens if we tuck him in there. That's that part of that flower that we cut off. Or what does it look like if we try to come in under here? No, I don't know. We totally lose that like that third thing that we're trying to go with. So let's just look. Sure, let's do that. Let's do that. The lady came from, let's look at that. Hang tight. I know the flower came from the floral bits and pieces. That's a whole slew of flowers in that pack. But Our Lady came from, let's see. How would we like this to go? Whoopsie. Not that way, because part of it is... Okay. The lady came from this one, the bits and pieces. So there's a couple ladies in there. That little lady that we used, and then that little gal right there. All right. So the one thing, again, we're still going to have to come up with is those two pieces. So I believe we saw some word strip stickers on here because we cut off part of the words. So now we need to put something else there. So let's see. Now then, we need something there. My faves, note to self, memories. Here we're really looking more towards the length of something, right? The best. How about if we do this? Let's look at then. Then. And then what if we have the best? Then the best. The best. Okay, the best is a little wide, but that's okay. We'll just snip it off a little bit. And then let's see what we get here. Then the best. Okay. No one will never know that we snipped part of that we cut part of that off and we had to make that work. All right. So now I think that we are ready. I think I answered, right? Did we get that? Oh, let's have a drink break. Exactly. Okay. All right. That one came from the bits and pieces. All right. Phrases kids today wouldn't understand. I need a bullet stamp. I also need to adhere this. So we need a little bullet stamp. Those little pieces I have to come in and adhere because it's the part that we fussy cut, or not fussy cut, that I use a craft knife or X-Acto knife to come around with. All right, so let's think about the bullet stamps. Oh. Where is... Oh, there it is. Okay, 3 sets. So what might we want to use? So Bullets and More is the original. That guy is upside down in there. Super basic, little shapes and numbers and a couple of different fonts. Then Bullets and More 2 is probably the one I use most often because it has more variety than Bullets and More. And then Bullets and More 3 is just newer. That's why I would say Bullets and More 2 is the one I've probably used most often. But I'm just looking at that to see what I might want to use on this set. Deborah, I love it. Okay, friends, Deborah's Beach Gal. She said, Lael, please laugh. I have to turn you off. I told Joshua if he did what he's supposed to, we could watch together. He didn't, so now I have to put my iPad away, which means I can't watch either. Oh, Deborah. Deborah. That Joshua. What a sweetie. What a sweetheart he is, man. He just, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm sorry that you have to go, Deborah. I am sorry that he's not minding his mother. So fun. Although you're probably not thinking that's fun, but all right, yes. And someone said, what a great role model. Seriously, right? Right. She is a great role model. She's an amazing mother. I hope she's still here to, for me to hear her, for her to hear me say that. She is an amazing mother. All right. What do I want to use? There's a pencil, there's a check mark. What about, is there like a little megaphone, I wonder? I know, it's funny I say that. They're my stamps, but there's so many bullet stamps, I never remember what's what. I never remember what we have. Dog and cat and butterfly, flowers, snow, book, a little thumbtack. Maybe a thumbtack. Maybe a thumbtack. I think we're going to go with a thumbtack. All right, let's go with the thumbtack. Thumbtack. She's a little office lady. That'll work. Well, clearly she's working in an office. I can call her an office lady. All right, thumbtack. All right, we're just about ready to start our list. Let me get these little guys back on there. Really quick, let's talk about that. Sometimes you'll find that your stamps, any stamps, no longer want to stick to their little sheet. And the smaller the stamp, that seems to happen more regularly, there's only a little bit of surface area right there for it to like stick to, right? And if your stamps are not wanting to stick to the sheet, it's because they have a little bit of lint or dust on them. All you need to do is just clean the back of that off. Clean the back of it off and it will stick right back on. But that's a good idea if you notice that your stamps are starting to not want to stick to the sheet. Do that sooner than later, because if you wait until later, those little stamps are probably not going to be on there anymore. When you've got such a teeny stamp, there's just not a lot for it to stick to. All right, little teeny tiny stamp. Before we talked about right sizing our stamping block to our stamp. That is a stamping stylus. That is a long, round stamping block that is meant for your little bullet stamps. The best thing about it is this. Look at, it's something that your hand is very familiar, used to working with that size. When you have a little teeny tiny stamp like that, it is hard to work with. The larger your stamping block, the harder it is to work with, just because it's so teeny. So what I'm doing here, I am using the little label that's on there as a point of reference. Stamp like that, most of the bullet stamps have a direction to them, right? And I would very much like for that direction when it's stamped to be pretty consistent from one stamped image to the next. So if I line up the stamp the way that I want it to stamp with that label as a point of reference, then when I'm stamping, as long as that label is always in the same spot, my stamp should be roughly in the same spot. All right, so now that we've done all that, we've talked through that. What color should we use? Do we want to use the same color? Do we want to use saltwater taffy? Maybe saltwater taffy. Would that work? I don't know. It might be a little bit too pinkish. Orangish, pinkish, peachish. Saltwater taffy. Let's do it. Why not? It's small enough. It will be okay. It'll be okay. Saltwater taffy. All right. So this is the stamp that I am going to use to separate all of the things on my list. All right, so there we go. And you see how, as long as I am keeping that reference point, my stamp is going to be in that same kind of general direction every time. All right, so here we go. Now we're ready for our list. Number 1. The first thing on my list, in no particular order. Be kind, please rewind. What's that one from? Be kind, please rewind. Anyone? We know that one. Be kind, please rewind. Thing of the past, right? Thing of the past. Now, I'm hoping that they don't all end up being like that. I'm trying to add a little bit of pink in between. Blockbuster, yes. Be kind, please rewind. Here's another one. Would you like smoking or non-smoking? And you know what? That was in a restaurant. That was on an airplane. That was on an airplane, right? You could decide if you wanted to be in the smoking section or the non-smoking section. Have you guys ever heard people say like having a non-smoking section on an airplane is like having a non-urinating section in a swimming pool? You're in such a small confined area that basically it's everywhere. Yeah, would you like smoking or non-smoking? Another one is, I know smoking on airplanes. That one is, whether you smoke or not, no judgment. But that one just blows your mind that you could smoke on an airplane, right? Well, back then it was much more, I think it was when I was in high school, maybe when they stopped allowing that. But like when my parents were young, that was totally, everybody smoked. That was just part of a social thing that you did. Creative Cindy, I remember walking through the smoking section to go to the bathroom. All right, another one is roll up the window, right? We've talked about kind of that before. Roll up the window. We did a list a long time ago that was called When I Was a Kid. When I was a kid, you had to roll up the window, right? Roll up the window. Roll up the window. But I think we still say, Karen, but don't call me Shirley. I love that. That movie, Airplane, has so many great lines from it. Shirley, you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley. Yes, roll up the window. But I think we still call it roll up the window these days, right? We don't say push up the window or click up the window. Roll up the window. Who's at the door? Oh, Karen, who's at the door? Right? Because in a lot of cases you have doorbell camera, ring camera, right? You've got mail. Remember that one? You've got mail. That was it AOL? Was it AOL? That when you got an email, it would say you've got mail? I want to say, I think it's AOL. Yeah, Carol, I think so. I think it's AOL. How about this one? Blue light special. And they are no longer. Blue light special. We will never hear that again because that business is no longer. Blue light special. Or blue hair special, right? Blue hair special. Yep, Kelly's Creative Dreams, Kmart, right? The blue light specials were when you'd be shopping and there must have been like a light that would go wee, 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 and there was some kind of special, the blue light special. Another one. Yes, Kelly's Creative Dreams, they did. They closed their final store last month. Waiting by the phone. Waiting by the phone. Remember, you used to wait by the phone. Oh my gosh, you used to wait by the phone hoping that a boy would call you. Well, not a boy, the boy. Whoever your love interest was at the time, you just wait by the phone. Wait by the phone. Now, if you're waiting by the phone, you're just waiting everywhere and nowhere all at once because the phone is with you most of the time, right? Waiting by the phone. Yes, I know. Kelly's Creative Dreams said now they're permanently attached to us, the phone, right? Carol K, we were talking about this the other day at Thanksgiving with my mother-in-law, party lines. You had to wait, you had to share your phone lines with the neighbors, right? So Nick at some point grew up with party line. I never had, and he's only 3 years older than me, but I think it had to do with maybe where you live. But yeah, we were talking about nice Trans Am, Karen. People could still say that today, nice Trans Am. Insert the disc. Ooh, ouch. Insert the disc. in your computer, right? Floppy disk, and that probably wasn't even floppy disk because floppy disk was a little bit more advanced than the old like little, No, floppy was first. Floppy was first, the big ones, and then you had the little small hard ones. Insert the disk. Um, yeah, at the tone, the time will be. Remember that? At the tone, the time will be. When you used to call for the time on your home phone. Yeah, that's before we had a watch in our pocket the whole time, aka our telephone. Debbie, the best thing since sliced bread, right? That's one of those like what are those called? Starts with a C. Not a cliche, right? Not a cliche, but right. Okay. How about this one? Check the TV guide. What's on tonight? Check the TV guide. I better write some more of this out. What's on TV tonight? Check the TV guide. The little magazine, right? The little magazine that you used to get, the TV guide. That was like paper thin. I mean, the paper on it was so thin. But that had a little schedule, and you could figure out what you wanted to watch. And sometimes you'd like look in advance, a couple days, and it was only good for a week, right? It was only good for a week. Kelly's Creative Dreams says she loved the TV guide. She has a couple of collector's covers. So Kelly, we're learning a little bit about you. You have yellow pages that you like to work into your junk journals and a couple of TV guide covers. I love that. That's really fun. Movie phone, right? You used to be able to call and hear the movie schedule, right? Tune in next week. Remember when they used to say that? Tune in next week. And that's referring to, we used to have to wait, right? You used to have to wait until next week to watch the next episode, which sometimes we still have to do that, right? Like right now, Yellowstone, you have to wait until next week because they are playing them, once per week. Tune in next week. All right, I'm getting a busy signal. I'm getting a busy signal. Remember the busy signals? And you'd call and that ding, that horrible busy signal thing. Okay. I am going to have to, because look what's going to happen. I am very quickly, I'll end up having to finish this list later because I'm going to have to find some more things. I'm going to have to really dig down deep and think of more things. I mean, we're still good for a bit, but remember this one? Don't touch that dial. That was they'd say, don't touch that dial. Because they didn't want you to change the channel. And the dial, because you really had a dial that you had to turn to change the channel, right? Don't touch that dial. Don't touch that dial. Right, fax machines. There are some places that still use fax machines. And sometimes it's not even a machine. Sometimes it is like there's an app. That you can scan and then fax it through the app. Don't touch that dial. Let your fingers do the walking. We talked about that earlier, right? Let your fingers do the walking. And that was with the yellow pages. Let your fingers do the walking. And our kids would be like, what? Huh? Yellow pages? What? Wait, huh? What? What are you talking about? Kids these days wouldn't have a clue. Oh, yep. Okay, same bat time, same bat channel. I did not have that on my list. Same bat time, same bat channel. But I say that sometimes. That was from the old Batman, right? Same bat time, same bat channel. Basically means I'll see you again next Saturday or whatever it is, right? Okay. Next up. Hang up the phone. Hang up the phone. I distinctly remember hang up the phone from when, like, I was a teenager, and you'd have, multiple phones in the house, and like, my mom would answer the phone and she'd say, Lael, it's Debbie. And then so you'd go to the other phone and you'd pick it up, and then you're on the phone and you'd be like, hang up the phone, because you didn't want your mom to be listening to your conversation with Debbie. Hang up the phone. Another one, dial the phone. So it's interesting. When I was making this list the other day, a lot of these things have to do with technology, right? But what's so interesting is quite a few of these have to do with a telephone, which is very bizarre. Let's see, waiting by the phone, at the tone the time will be. I'm getting a busy signal. Hang up the phone, dial the phone. It's interesting that what we think we had call. Did we have a call waiting, or was I just thinking call waiting? It's just interesting that a number of these things have to do with telephones. We've got a couple more to do, but this would be a really interesting thing to do with an older person. With an older person, like if you sat down with a parent or a grandparent and said, what are some phrases kids today wouldn't understand? They might have some of these, but they might have things that maybe some of these things they wouldn't understand, like be kind, please rewind, right? I mean, depending on the age of the person, someone that was, into their 90s might not know what that was because they may not remember like the videotapes and Blogbuster and things like that. So it'd be interesting to see the way that things changed kind of generation by generation. Karen, sometime, anytime, sugar me sweet. Def Leppard, I think, right? Yep, that's Def Leppard. Hi, Holly. Holly said, hi, I'm Holly. I just found Lael and I'm obsessed. I have watched several listing sessions. Welcome to you, Holly. So fun to have you here. It's just always so fun when new people find us, and I'm glad that you are enjoying kind of the whole thing. We have a lot of fun. Here's another one. Let's see. Do we want to put this here? Dial the phone. Oh, okay. This was one. Where's the beef? Where's the beef? Remember that one? What's that one from? Where's the beef from? This is a phrase, another phrase that people probably, although sometimes, I don't know, things come around, right? So some kids may know this. It's not really a phrase. 8675, I messed that up. 5309. 8675309. What is that? 8675309. 309. I gotta fix that. So, that's my white paint pen. I'm just going to cover that little part up and let it dry. You'll never even know I did that. I was thinking faster than I was talking. 5309. Whoopsie. 8675309. Jenny. Jenny. It's a song. It is. That's another one, Karen. Whoa. That was Arthur Fonzarelli, right? Pork. It's what's for dinner. Is that one? Pork. It's what's for dinner. Pork. It's what for dinner. I think that's what it is, right? I think so. Yes. Where's the beef is Wendy's. All right. Yes. Song lyrics. I know, right? Some of the song lyrics. We've had a lot of fun with song lyrics too. All right. So friends, that is as far as I got. That is as far as, oh, Mimi, I got to add that one. How you doing? How you doing? You guys know what that's from? Mimi knows what that's from. How you doing? Oh, my poor 9 got all skiwampus. How you doing? Joey Tribbiani. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Now we've got some more coming. Hang on. This one. I used to use this with my kids all the time. He won't like it. He hates everything. And someone wrote something in the chat that totally reminded me of that, right? He won't like it. He hates everything. He likes it. Hey, Mikey. Life cereal. Karen, he likes it. Hey, Mikey, right? We'll put that there too. He likes it. Hey, Mikey. So now we're kind of now with some of those. Again, still phrases that kids wouldn't understand, but now coming from TV shows and things, right? That's a fun one. That is a fun one. Okay. Milk, it does a body good. So you know what's funny, Ms. L? One of Nick's aunts worked for the Utah Dairy Association for years in marketing. And the boys had t-shirts that said, milk, it does a body good. So our kids totally knew what that was. They totally knew what that was. All right, kids. All right, kids. All right, friends. So we are going to call it an evening. I still have some things here, obviously. So I'll rack my brain and maybe talk to Nick. Be kind of fun to talk with other friends, right? Other friends or other people in your world, in your orbit, that may trigger things, kind of like things were triggered as we were here kind of working and talking. So I will finish that up before we meet again. Although there is one more thing I need to add. I've got to add something, a little something over here because we're just not quite even. So let's look for something there very quickly, and then we'll flip the camera and say our goodbyes. I really wish there was more of this in this line. I love that kind of, that little vintage, like 50s, that 50s look is a lot of fun. Maybe we just do a flower there. Let's see. That could work. Let's look and see. There's a pen, there's a paper clip. There's glasses. The glasses don't really fit. I mean, she's even pushing it a little bit, but I think she works. She works with everything just because, it's kind of a back then kind of thing. Maybe we just need a smaller flower, I think. That poor flowers, I've tried to use them on a couple of pages. All right, let's get a little small flower in there, and I think we will be good. Maybe this little guy. Sure, but now that tells me I need one of those over here, I think. We'll just keep on going. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, now we're good. We're kind of all-ish together now. All right, that's gonna be good. Okay, friends, let me turn on the overhead lights and we will turn off the studio lights and we will say our goodbyes. Little house on the prairie. Jack, I can fly. Oh, here's the story of a man named Jed, right? Share those with us. Which one? Mimi, was that a question for me? Can I share those with you? I'm not sure what that was. I'm not sure. Maybe that was for someone else. Okay, I am going to unplug that and flip the camera. Whoop. Oh, goodness. I got a little loosey-goosey there. All right. Okay, friends. Just make sure I didn't see when you get, oh yes, of course, when you get more to fill up that page, absolutely, I will. And we will look at, look at that when we start off the next listing session. But I will also, I'll put that in the Facebook group or something so you can kind of see the full list because I need a few more things. And if you guys think of more things and you want to put them in the Facebook group, that'd be awesome. Just so those of you that are working on the list, we can kind of continue to build. We can kind of continue to build from there. Oh, Nick, always a comedian, right? Nick, let them up. They've had enough. It's a dad joke, right? Let them up. They've had enough. And here's the thing, Nick. If they wanted to leave, they could. And they already have if they want to leave. So, yeah. Oh, Mary Tran. Sorry, Mary. Mary said, OMG, I'm just now able to hop on the live and it's over. Oh, you know what? We need to talk about another prize. Let's just do this. Let's make it easy. Let's do the Bulletin More 2 stamp set. Okay, so that is what I used for the little thumbtacks, the little bullet thumbtacks. So to participate in that giveaway, you leave a comment on the video when it's over. So not in the chat, comment on the video when it's over. We will be listing together again next on Saturday the 14th. So leave a comment on the video when it's over, anytime between now and, well, when it's over, and Saturday the 14th. And I will draw lucky winner that morning and then announce it that morning. So we are listing next December 14th Saturday, December 21st Saturday, December 28th Saturday. So the last 3 Saturdays of the month. We will not be listing between now and the 14th because I will be out of town. Have a lovely rest of your evening. Have a lovely rest of your week. Have a lovely rest of your next 2 weeks. And I hope to see you here on the 14th. I'm just checking the chat really quick. I only see 5 hands up. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I miss things. Okay, friends. So there we go. Enjoy the rest of your week and your evening, and I hope to see you here again on the 14th when we list again. Thanks for watching, friends. Bye-bye.